From our studio in Georgetown, this is the TV Delmarva Channel 14 News at 4.
Good day, Delmarva. Reporter Rob Petrie here for TV Delmarva Channel 14 News. Straight ahead, DelDOT continues to ignore our requests for additional information after hundreds of Delawareans received false toll violations. State Senator Brian Pettyjohn held a webinar to discuss Delaware's broadband expansion, and Delaware health officials are encouraging students to get tested for COVID-19 before returning to school from spring break. These stories and more coming up, but weather first with Hunter Alton.
Well, good Thursday, Delmarva. Hope everyone has been enjoying the absolutely wonderful temperatures over the last 2 days. Once again, we're seeing temperatures in our inland locations well into the 80s, but still a little bit on the cooler side the closer you get to those Atlantic coastal waters because of those water temperatures still being in the lower 50s. But as we go into the afternoon hours, taking a live look outside of North Ocean City, Maryland, we have been seeing an increase in those clouds. We have a mixture of those high thin cirrus clouds and as well as those fair weather clouds pretty much everywhere here on the shore. Currently 66 degrees in North Ocean City. Take a look at some satellite and radar. We are watching for a cold front that is making its way through the Appalachian Mountains at this hour. We're starting to see a little bit of some shower development in areas of northern Maryland and eastern Pennsylvania. We have to watch out for those because there is the chance of some of these showers could turn into thunderstorms later on this evening, and some of them could be on the strong to severe side if they can break through this cap in the upper atmosphere. Now let's have a look at those temperatures elsewhere on Delmarva at this hour. Still very, very mild out there for the most part, especially for the inland locations. Right now here in Georgetown, 81 degrees, 79 for Salisbury, 77 for Pocomoke City, 81 for Easton, 82 for Centerville, 81 for Dover, 82 in Wilmington, and currently 81 degrees even all the way up north in Newark. We're seeing an abundance of surface moisture in the area. Dew points have now climbed into the lower 60s. This is the little bit of fuel that we can expect to potentially jumpstart these thunderstorms once that front comes a little bit closer in the next couple of hours. Winds, though, have been fairly breezy out there, generally from the southwest, sustained anywhere between about 15 and 20 miles per hour. But we are seeing some wind gusts as high as near 30 miles per hour in some locations. Currently gusting here to 26 miles per hour in Georgetown, 23 in Salisbury, 27 miles per hour in Ocean City, 22 in Pocomoke City, and even 25 miles per hour all the way up north in Newark. Now, we do have the chance of seeing some scattered showers and a few isolated thunderstorms as the cold front moves through later on this evening, but a cool down is in store, especially towards the weekend with temperatures below average. I have all the details regarding the storm threat here in just a little bit.
Well, it's now been over a week and we still have not heard anything from DelDOT pertaining to the hundreds of residents who received false toll violations when they paid the toll and had a working Easy Pass in their vehicles. We sent the following email to DelDOT's Community Relations Director Charles McLeod after we learned just last week through a source that the department was blaming the issue on a third-party company it contracted with called TransCore. Quote, "To what extent is the issue with TransCore? The people deserve answers, and it's time for you to explain what's going on here, how many people are affected, and what the deal is with this third-party company that DelDOT contracted with. If they screwed up, then it's still DelDOT's responsibility to resolve the issue and at the very least be transparent about all of this. Hundreds of residents have reached out with this problem. The people deserve an explanation." DelDOT has refused to provide any explanation at all or even acknowledge that the issue exists as more Delawareans like the ones you're about to hear from continue to reach out.
Well, I think there's two things that's going on that are a blinding glimpse of the obvious. Customer service is understaffed. I mean, their wait times are horrendous, and they're not empowered to make any changes. They're just empowered to literally reiterate what their process and protocol is. So you don't get anywhere with customer service. It's not really customer service, it's response service to your toll violation. The other thing is that there seems to be a problem that no one is empowered to fix. No one's stepping on top of this and going, why is DelDOT spending all this money to send me all these violations? This is not free. And why is it taking 4 months to get to me? I mean, there's so many things that are a blinding glimpse of the obvious that are wrong that need to be looked into, not the least of which is I'm getting violations for tolls I've paid.
TV Delmarva News is continuing to investigate this developing story. We will continue to bring you stories of Delawareans impacted by this issue until DelDOT addresses it and resolves the problem. Well, State Senator Brian Pettyjohn, along with the Department of Technology and Information, held a webinar Wednesday evening to discuss Delaware's broadband expansion. Our Jonathan Mistrat has the details.
According to Jason Clark with DTI, more than 11,000 homes and businesses lack high-speed internet. So on March 17th, Comcast, Mediacom, and Verizon were awarded a combined $56 million to build infrastructure to reach every home and business within those rural and underserved areas.
As you can see, have service around all of these pockets, but they were unable or chose not to provide service in those spaces. Because of the cost to run fiber, what we refer to as the last mile. And if any of you have inquired on your own, I'm sure you've received quotes, whether that's $10,000 to run down a driveway, whether it's $50,000 to address a pretty far setback if you have a farm, or if service is down the end of the road and not even running down your street, quotes over $100,000. And that's what we're really talking about with this funding.
Funding comes from the $110 million ARPA Act and CARES relief funding. The build-out timeline is 24 to 48 months out. It will also provide broadband services to over 25,000 low-income families with the goal to create digital equity for all students and schools. Georgetown State Senator Brian Pettyjohn.
We have a very active constituency, and it's part of it is the outreach that we've been doing for quite some time. Letting people know, look, we're looking to expand broadband here in Delaware. This is a priority. It's not only been a priority of mine, but it's been a priority of the last two administrations here in Delaware to accomplish that. And luckily, with the funding that we were able to get from the federal government, we're looking to be the first state that has pretty much universal connectivity for every business, every home, every address within our states.
Now, Mediacom has come under fire recently and during the webinar for its outage in parts of Sussex County recently. Clark says the company, which is getting $11 million in funding, plans to address the issue.
One of the things that we've heard is they have been servicing a number of customers and may not have had the opportunity to invest in their infrastructure and backbone to address the capacity challenges that come forth with serving more and more customers at a quick rate. Part of what they applied for and part of what was available was for capacity. And so the number of customers being served by Mediacom in this grant process is lower than the other two providers. But what one piece that is overlooked at times when just looking at these numbers is that they are going to be making an investment in capacity. And as they address that capacity, it will actually provide better service for their legacy customers as well. And so that's really making investments in the infrastructure, the backbone that provides the bandwidth to the homes. And I think that's very important and something that if you already have them today, or if you know someone who has them and have heard, various experiences, know that we heard that as well, and that was included in their grant process to improve their service overall.
You can watch the full hour-long webinar in its entirety, along with links to track the project on our website at tvdelmarva.com. Jonathan Mistrat for TV Delmarva News.
Well, the Delaware Division of Public Health and the Department of Education are strongly encouraging families to test students for COVID-19 before they return to school following spring break. Health officials advise using either over-the-counter test kits or visiting a convenient testing location. With the lifting of certain COVID-19 restrictions and mandates, many people are once again holding family gatherings or traveling this year. And since you never know if the people around you might be positive for COVID-19, health experts say the best way to know your status and to keep classmates and teachers safe is to get tested before returning to school. DPH distributed approximately 190,000 test kits to school districts, charter schools, and private schools just this month. Coming up, a Delaware State Trooper has been named Special Olympics Delaware Torch Runner of the Year. More details straight ahead. Keep it here. Delaware State Police Sergeant Gary Fournier of Delaware State Police Troop 3 has been recognized by Special Olympics Delaware as the recipient of the 2022 Winnie Spence Torch Runner of the Year. The Torch Runner of the Year is the most prestigious honor presented to a law enforcement officer who supports the ideals, values, and principles of the Delaware law enforcement for Special Olympics movement. Sergeant Fournier received this award at a ceremony held back on April 12th for his extensive involvement with Special Olympics Delaware. Get this, over 25 years ago, Sergeant Fournier began volunteering with Special Olympics Delaware as a recruit trooper. However, his passion for the program started as a young child growing up in New York. Sergeant Fournier has fond memories of attending Special Olympic competitions to watch his cousin participate in various events. As a result, when he had the chance to participate in the Special Olympics Torch Run as a recruit trooper in the Delaware State Police Training Academy, he did so without hesitation. A big congratulations to Sergeant Fournier for your accomplishments, and thank you for proudly representing the Delaware State Police. Well, it's looking like we could be in store for scattered showers and the chance of a thunderstorm tonight as we get a preview of your pinpoint weather forecast with Hunter Alton.
We continue to have the extremely warm temperatures in place across the region this afternoon, but we are monitoring the chance of an isolated thunderstorm with a cold front passage this evening. Looking for a wonderful Friday ahead with plenty of sunshine and mild temperatures, and another weak cold front will move through this weekend, but knocking our temperatures down below normal. So what can we expect with these storms this evening? I'll let you know when we come back here on TV Delmarva, Channel 14 News. Alrighty, Delmarva, let's get right into the pinpoint forecast for the overnight hours into the day. On Friday, we are monitoring a cold front that is working its way into the area later on this evening, and that may spark some scattered showers and maybe even a few isolated thunderstorms as well. But the big difference is going to be things are going to be cooling down back to reality behind that front tonight with overnight lows 46 to 52 degrees, and the winds are going to be switching directions too from the north between 5 and 10 miles per hour. Now, we do have an update for that convective risk from the Storm Prediction Center this afternoon. Before, areas all of Delmarva and the Maryland Western Shore was just under a marginal risk of severe weather, a level 1 out of 5 risk for the potential of some of these storms may contain some strong gusty winds. But now, as of this afternoon, including areas of Dover, Wilmington, Newark, Centerville, Easton, Baltimore, and Bel Air have been upgraded to a slight risk of severe weather, a level 2 out of 5 risk for the potential of some of these storms could be on the strong or even severe side and the capability of producing some isolated wind damage. And now I'm going to be completely honest, this is quite bullish from the Storm Prediction Center. Reason being is there's a fairly strong cap in the atmosphere. It's basically like plugging a sink drain and stopping the flow, because storms, as they try to build and rise up into the atmosphere, they're going to be cut off at a point, kind of like putting a cap on top of a pipe and cutting off the chance of storms for development. But there is a chance that it may break the cap in some locations, but the cap is fairly strong going into this afternoon, but it still wouldn't rule out the potential of maybe seeing an isolated thunderstorm here and there going into the evening hours. Now, futurecast, rest of the overnight hours into the day on Friday. This is 6 o'clock tonight. You see areas on the futurecast showing some scattered showers and maybe even an isolated thunderstorm here and there. Still fairly mild in the mid and upper 70s. Once we get into this evening around 10 o'clock, temperatures have cooled off into the upper 50s to about 60 degrees. Still have some areas of some scattered showers as the cold front continues to move through the area. By 2 o'clock in the morning, the bulk of the precipitation should be well off of our coast, and we have cooled things back down into the mid and lower 50s with mostly cloudy skies. But waking up tomorrow morning, though, although it's going to be noticeably cooler, we got temperatures down into the lower 50s and maybe even some isolated locations in the upper 40s as we wake up tomorrow morning. But we got plenty of sunshine, and that will be continuing into the afternoon hours on Friday. Still going to be a fairly nice day here on Delmarva. Definitely going to be noticeably cooler than what it was today, with temperatures getting into the upper 60s to about 70 degrees. And even by the evening hours, still looking at mostly clear skies, temperatures mid to upper 50s, but we will be looking at an increase in clouds once again as we go into the overnight hours tomorrow night. Now, Friday forecast overall, we got mostly sunny skies, another mild day in store with your afternoon temperatures 68 to 72 degrees. And we got some light winds from the northwest between 5 and 10 miles per hour. Although we are going to be looking at some little bit cooler temperatures and some lighter winds. The allergy index for tomorrow on Friday still very, very high in the wonderful please stop category, because we've all been feeling those allergies this week. 10.7 out of 12 on that scale. Still dealing with that tree pollen, which I've noticed this week a lot more leaves are popping up on those trees, and that's what it is, tree pollen of poplar, juniper, and maple. Now we're going to switch gears, take a look at the marine conditions for your Friday, beginning with the Atlantic. We got mostly sunny skies, 60 degrees, winds from the southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour with seas of 1 to 3 feet. Take a look at the Delaware Bay. We got mostly sunny skies, 62 degrees, winds from the south at 5 to 10 miles per hour with seas of less than 1 foot expected. And then the Chesapeake Bay, mostly sunny skies, 65 degrees, winds from the south at 5 to 10 miles per hour, and you can expect seas of less than 1 foot. And now, as we go into the overnight hours tomorrow night, we will be increasing clouds just a little bit. Partly cloudy skies, but still a fairly comfortable night ahead as well. Overnight lows, 48 to 52 degrees, with the wind switching back to the south at only at about 5 miles per hour. Now let's take a look at that extended outlook, because, well, after today we are back down to somewhat near average going into Friday and as well as for Saturday, but we might have a slight chance of seeing some isolated showers developing of a weak cold front that's going to be moving through, because by Sunday we're going to be dropping temperatures a few degrees below average into the upper 50s with mostly sunny skies. Going into next week, start of the work week on Monday, we have more scattered showers, the coolest day of the week at 57 degrees, but we warm up just a little bit for the mid and late portions of next week, and we're going to be introducing some more rain chances by Thursday with a high of 68 degrees.
Coming up, the New York City subway shooting suspect has been taken into custody. More details on the way. Don't go away. Well, the New York City subway shooting suspect has been taken into custody. 62-year-old Frank James, the suspect believed to have been responsible for that heinous crime of opening fire on a crowded subway train earlier this week, was taken into custody on Wednesday. James was caught following a tip that was submitted to Crime Stoppers. The attack left at least 29 people shot or injured. James is expected to be charged federally and tried in court in Brooklyn, not far from where the attack took place.
Weather Classroom is sponsored by No Nonsense Office Machines, committed to providing quality products and services with over 15 years of experience here in Sussex County. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today's weather lesson, we will be talking about storm relative helicity. Now, storm relative helicity is essentially a way of representing the potential for corkscrew rotation to form in the atmosphere, which suggests the likelihood of a mesocyclone, or also known as a supercell thunderstorm, forming, which in turn can suggest the likelihood of tornadoes. Now, there's no particular value that determines if or when a tornado might form, but generally speaking, the greater the storm relative helicity is, the more likely for a tornado may form. Now, storm relative helicity alone doesn't suffice to determine the tornado formation, but it's a very helpful product in which we can identify the shear in the environment if it's rotating aloft. It's called storm relative because it is measured in comparison to the general velocity of the storm as a whole, as opposed to saying the rotation of the Earth or your position relative to the storm in general. Now, effective storm relative helicity is a minimum value needed to keep the storm alive. Below this value, there really isn't enough instability such as vertical wind shear to keep the storm going for much longer. Thus, values under the minimum suggest storms will either die out or lose all supercellular characteristics in general.
Well, that about does it for us today, Delmarva. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at TV Delmarva and on our website, tvdelmarva.com, for real-time news and weather updates. And while you're there, be sure to sign our petition calling on the major cable providers to carry TV Delmarva on their platforms so we can provide this kind of local programming to all of Delmarva. Until next time, I'm Rob Petrie reporting for TV Delmarva, Channel 14 News.